wanting to go back and look at this footage, looking back at the time in the house and how the last fight went, how much did you go back and look at that fight, and how much did that push forward into this fight that you were like, I can't do this mistake, I can't do this, and how much did it help you to kind of shape your training going into this fight?
I'm going to be honest with you. There was really nothing in that fight. We knew a couple things. I was in Yuma with Coach T for the last 2.5 weeks, two weeks of my camp, something like that. We knew a couple things. Every time he feinted for a takedown, I dropped my hands, right? So what did he do? He threw the overhand over the top, and it worked, But we went back to that fight and we looked at the positives out of that, right? The fact that I was half knocked out and I was able to get up back onto my feet against a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, who's been a black belt for a long time. The fact that, my inexperience in wrestling showed how I didn't keep my back on the cage. So you go over that footage and you go and you fix those, you tweak those little things, which we did, and we're not done. I'm gonna keep doing that. I'm gonna keep doing my review. We have a whole set of review done that we do every day. If you want to be the best in the business, you got to train like the best in the business. I'm getting to the point where I can train like the best in the business. I'm not there yet, but I do. I do what I can with what I have. So.
I love how you break down your skills. I love the humbleness, and I love how you're approaching going forward and where you are. I always like to ask fighters, if you're in one of the games and you saw the player ranking of where you're at right now, and if 100's the best player, where would you rank you are right now, skill-wise, and where you think you will be eventually?
I ain't no punk, so I put myself maybe mid-70s. Because I feel like I got that much more greatness to achieve. You go and you get in the room with all these guys that been around the game, wrestlers. I like wrestling. I'm not great at wrestling. I like to do just traditional wrestling with wrestlers, jiu-jitsu. You can jump leaps and bounds. So the jiu-jitsu game in the gi alone is just off the chain with what you can do, and I'm just scratching the surface with all this. I'm 32. I started the sport at 25 at 330 pounds. So. In a short time, I came a long way, and I got so much more to show and so much more to go. So it was just imperative that we get the W tonight. This was my job interview for the UFC. As you can see, I don't have a Reebok fight kit. We don't have the 25th anniversary anything. This was a job interview. Hopefully I got the job, and now we can move on to securing my spot in the top 10.
You did get the tattoo, though. The team went out.
Yeah.
Y'all got the tattoos. Who all got the tattoo?
Everybody except for Marcia got the tattoo
Okay.
because she was upset, and that was her decision. But everybody else on our team, we're all still close. We all still talk. I talk to Justin more than anybody. But when we see each other, it's like talking to a friend you ain't talked to in 2 years or 6 months. We were real tight in the house. That's why we had such a good team. That's why we trained so good together. We helped each other, despite knowing that we may have to fight each other. And it was something that we all wanted to do. This is a once in a lifetime experience. There'll never be another team, TUF 28. That was the last TUF season in that gym, the iconic gym. So we were a part of something great. I couldn't be up on top getting the trophy, but that's up for Frazier to go get it now. That's my boy. That's my big homie, and he's gonna go do his job.
Was this the toughest job interview you've ever had?
You want me to be honest with you? No.
No. What was tougher than this?
Being in that house.
But that's part of the interview of sorts, right?
No, this is the interview. The house was like, how you got one interview, the second interview, then they call you till you get. So that was the first interview, right? This is the second interview. Now I'm still waiting for the call to see if I got the job. So we go back to the gym, and I do some more traveling, and I'll probably show out to California, and get better. Right now I just want to go home and see my kids. I've been waiting for my kids. My fiance's out here. I just want to go relax now.
One last one for me, and you kind of mentioned it is the last time that the TUF's going to be in that particular gym. Some people think that this might be the last season of TUF. Would you be sad to see that go? And do you think there's still a point that this is still a good mechanism for fighters to get into the UFC?
I guess it depends. The general public, they don't like to see all the shit in the house sometimes. Everybody just wants to see the fights. That's why the Contender Series was born, right? So I don't know if they're going to have TUF. I think they are still continuing TUF, last one in that gym. So who knows what the new format will look like? I'm sure it'll be similar. I can't speak on it because I don't know. But a lot of people just want to see fights, So I don't know. That chapter's closed. This marks an end for that chapter. The new chapter is being a UFC heavyweight, and there's a lot of work for me to do to be successful, you know, because one punch could put us to sleep. No matter how good you are, you can be the best on paper and lose, you know, very quickly. So, you know, there's just work to be done. It's time to go back to the drawing board.
Well,
Perfect.